let's write an exponential function from a description. So using words, let's write a function. First, I want to go through a few different pieces with this. Now, when we're dealing with an exponential function, we're oftentimes going to start with the parent function. Parent function being f of x equals b to the x. Very, very basic. And then we can shift horizontally, vertically. We can do a vertical stretch or compression and a reflection. What does all that look like? So if we have a horizontal shift in regards to our parent function, right? So we're going to have b to the x, and then the horizontal shift is going to be a part of the exponent. So we're going to either have b to the x minus h or plus h. Now, if we have minus something in the exponent, we are moving units to the right. If we have a plus h, we are moving units to the left. And you're thinking, what? Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Vertical shift. We're going to have b to the x, right? Again, this is everything dealing with in regards to the parent function. Now, with the parent function, if we would have plus k or minus k, so these are just numbers, right? K is just a number outside of the exponent. Now, that if it's plus a number, that's going to move it up, and if it's minus k, that's going to move it down, okay? A vertical stretch or compression. Now, that gives us the a value in front. So if we have a b to the x, that a tells us if we have a vertical stretch or compression. Now, if the absolute value of a is greater than 1, it's going to be a stretch, okay? Which means it's going to kind of be elongated. It's going to look taller a little bit. And if the absolute value of a is between 0 and 1, so we're talking like a fraction here, then that's going to be a compression. So it's going to be kind of smushed, if you think about like what that looks like in your head. For the reflection, we could have two different reflections. Again, let me give me two pieces here. So we're either going to have a negative sign out front or a negative sign with my exponent. If it's reflected about the x-axis, so across the x-axis, then the negative sign is going to be out front. And if it's across the y-axis, the negative sign will be with the x. So if you flip across the x-axis, that means your y values flip, right? So they all become positive or negative. They just flip. And if you go across the y-axis, your x values flip. Okay? So those are a little bit harder to remember. I find that when I write things down a lot, I tend to remember them more. So if any of these you're like, ooh, that's a lot to remember, write them down and talk out loud and you'll remember more. Let's do some examples. Oh, wait, the general form, throwing all of that together. We've got f of x equals ab to the x minus h plus k. Right? We've got our vertical, our horizontal, our stretch or compression, and then if we throw negatives in there, that gives us reflections. So this is what we're trying to write. Now, let's do an example. Find the exponential equation for the function f of x equals 3 to the x that is vertically stretched by a factor of 2, reflected across the x-axis, shifted right 2 units, and shifted down 1 unit. Okay, well, let's start with just our parent function. And now let's see what we have. So first, vertically stretched by a factor of 2. Well, vertical stretch comes out front, so we're going to put a 2 out front. Then it says reflected across the x-axis. Well, remember, across the x-axis means the negative comes out front, so that 2, that vertical stretch is going to be a negative 2. Then it says shifted right. Well, remember, a horizontal shift is with the exponent. So right means I'm going to put a minus 2. And then down 1 unit means I have a minus 1 on the outside. And that is my function. Let's do one more. Find the exponential equation for the function f of x equals e to the x that is compressed vertically by a factor of 4, shifted up 6, and shifted left 1. Okay, again, let's start with our function. Excuse me. Now, it says compressed vertically by a factor of 4. Remember, compressed means that we are between 0 and 1. So if I'm compressed by a factor of 4, that means I have a 1/4 out front. That's what compressed means. It's got to be a fraction by a factor of 4, so 1/4. Shifted up 6. Well, that's on the outside here. And shifted left 1. Well, that horizontal goes as my exponent. So f of x equals 1/4 e to the x plus 1 plus 6. And that is it. If you prefer, you can always put your exponent in parentheses if that helps you kind of see it. But that is our final answer.